Educating, informing, serving. Fact TV, keeping government honest.
Call the meeting to order at 6 p.m. on June 20th, 2022 at the Town Hall upstairs. We need a motion to amend the agenda. There's 3 different items. We want to add the tree cutting on Route 35 in the highway report. We want to add the copier under the clerk treasury. And on 9A, between 9 and 10, 9A, we need to have an executive session to deal with the resignation. So somebody make that motion?
What would be the executive session?
303, 1 VSA 313A1, personnel.
Yes.
Okay, just one second, I just want to, this is the first I've heard that we're thinking about going into executive session, and I just want to double check my understanding of the reason why we're going in. Hold on just one second, please.
It's A1 and it's with regard to employees.
I'm sorry to delay, Mr. Chair. Would you want to go ahead and do the minutes while I'm looking?
No, I'd like to do the agenda and I'd like to move forward.
I know. I thought I had that out, but. Okay, give me just one more second. Sorry. Oh, I found it. Okay, so just say again, please, what subsection we're
313A1. 1 VSA 313A1.
But Bill, that doesn't have personnel in it.
Yes, it does. Go down a little bit, it's employees.
It says labor relation agreements with
There you go.
employees.
That's all you need. That's what you're
Well,
doing. You're doing a labor relations
Actually,
agreement.
as you know better than I, to use that particular one, you're supposed to have actually 2 motions. First, to make sure that you're not finding a premature general public.
Are you going to talk about your labor agreement with the employee in front of the public? No. This is a labor agreement under 313A1.
I'm not exactly sure that that is completely accurate, but I'll go along with it. Thank
Okay,
you.
so can we have a motion then, please, to?
And the other 2 things were the tree cutting and the copier. Did I hear that?
That is correct.
Okay.
Can we have a motion to add these 3 items to the today's agenda? We have a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye. Opposed? Okay.
I think you need, if you did it that way, you need to then approve the agenda as amended.
Okay, yeah, that's right. Approve that as amended.
And Mr. Chair, thank you for your indulgence while with that. I appreciate it.
You need to make a motion to amend as amended, to approve as amended.
Can you do that?
No, you amended it.
Okay, so we need a motion to approve the amendments to the agenda.
No, approve the agenda as amended.
Approve the agenda as amended.
Sorry.
Someone.
All right, do we have a second? Second. Hope there's no more discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I'm already confused, there's only 6 on.
Okay, we have the minutes of June 6th. Any additions or corrections to those minutes as presented?
Mr. Chair, a couple of
Yes.
comments, please. First of all, under number 4, other, just a correction. Mowing was going on and Austin Powers, and his name should be capitalized, was weed clearing the brush around the machines.
You didn't give us a copy, did you?
Yes, the highway report number 4. The topic is the third bullet, other. The sentence is the fourth sentence down. Mowing was ongoing, and Austin Powers was weed clearing. That would be 5, but it should not be what's written in the minutes.
He was weed eating the bushes around the bridge, that's what he said.
Okay. And then, in number 6, school, I believe, the sentence Article 5, which allocated $350,000 for the whole district surplus to Grafton, Athens, which amount would be used to reduce future budgets. I believe, according to the notes that I took, it's too bad Hardy's not here. There are 2 other ways that $350,000 could be used, and to just have that clear in the record. It can also be used for tuition reimbursement, and it can be used for facilities.
Since, okay,
You can fact check that if you'd like, Bill, but that is what I had in my notes.
Yeah, I'd like to be fact, I think that to be fact checked so that we know that is
well,
actual.
what difference does it make to you? It only makes a difference to the school board.
Well,
Doesn't
that's
make a
true.
difference to you. Okay, I'll check.
Just to be clear.
I remember him saying tuition.
Are there any other corrections or amendments to the minutes of the
Okay, let me be clear. What do you want me to find out? 350,300 to be used for what?
Well, there was, reducing taxes, there was one for tuition and one for,
The third, I
the
remember those
third,
two.
Hardy,
Facility improvements, I thought.
was it facility improvement?
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah,
Could be, exactly.
And the third one?
Facilities.
Reduce taxes, facilities, and
tuition.
Tuition. Okay. All right, highway report. I'm assuming, Mike, you're going to give the report. Is that why you're here? Or?
Yeah, the minutes.
Oh, did we do that? I thought we did, sorry. Have a motion to approve the minutes as amended.
So,
Do we have a second?
I'll say.
Do we have any other discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye.
I,
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, so are you gonna give a highway report or?
Give you what I got.
Okay, go ahead.
You'll do good.
We should be finishing up the groundwork tomorrow down on Cameronport Road. So the groundwork will be done there, and then the paperwork will go to Bill. And I have Austin lined up for Wednesday to work on 35 on some of the asphalt issues over there. And then we'll be hopping over onto back to grading and some roadside mowing the rest of the week after that.
So so all the, that road programs will be finished now?
That should be up, yeah. So the groundwork should be, all we gotta do is the hydro seeding down there and do the final pictures, then I'll give it all to Bill.
Okay, good.
And he can get submitted and
Okay.
meet their deadline.
Mike, are you gonna be finishing up on hydro seeding?
Tomorrow.
and Mike, are you still on track to do the Village Park parking lot in Culverton a week or so?
Hopefully, we can get there next week.
Excellent.
So the excavator is back to the shop at the moment, and that's the next spot, I guess.
Who's gonna talk about the FEMA? Do we need to talk about FEMA? And it's on the agenda, I didn't know. Yes?
we are dealing with issues with FEMA as they come up. We have resolved the first one that we received, 66,000 from FEMA. We had not received the 5% from the state, so there should be, that's 90%, so there should be another $5,000 or $6,000 from the state that comes in. And then the other 5% is our match. We have been dealing with clearing out the Townsend Road issues, and, we've answered all their questions. They're going through a long, historical clearance to make sure we didn't destroy anything that was historical, and I don't know how soon we're gonna get it, but that may take months, because they're asking questions about stacked stone culverts that they now realize that we don't have stacked stone culverts, that we stack stone on the culverts, but we don't have these things that look like a big, huge monument to whomever. So, they are, hopefully done with stacked stone culverts. They wanted to know about the Townsend Road, about what we did for, the, riprap on Townsend Road and edges of the road. We gave them all that information and all the pictures. And I think, but who knows how soon we're gonna catch up with all that. And then as far as the Vermont highway, we've got all the money for that. That's been received. Correct.
As far as I know,
And that was like 66,000. There's 60-some thousand
that was the fifth highway.
for the fifth highway, which is separate from the FEMA. And so we're all done, we should be done with fifth highway.
Okay.
How much does FEMA owe us and when do we expect it?
They will tell us how much they owe us, but it's about 300,000. Well, they owe us 300,000 less 60. Well, 90% of 300,000 less 60.
Okay, so that's the 366 then.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Okay, who's talking about the tree cutting on 35? Mike, you?
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about. Bill brought it up.
Oh, okay.
Say again?
The tree cutting, we need to know it.
The tree cutting is, there's 3 trees on Chester Road that TJ Carroll has bid 1,300. It said that he would charge us 1,300 to cut. They are right at the beginning, just past, Wallace's house. There's 3 of them right there in the row that need to cut. And he will charge, 1,500 for the 3.
But you only have $1,000 in the budget.
So I don't recall, just refresh my memory, please, Bill. I don't recall us talking about these 3 trees that need to be cut. Is this something that's happened recently, or am I just not remembering?
I can't answer that question.
I think there was a discussion in the last 2 meetings about dead trees
Yeah.
on different roads.
Aha,
And he was getting reports back from different people as to what trees were dead and what were not and where and all that. And the only ones I guess that have come back is those 3 there, which are just a small part of the dead trees that are out there. So, yeah, but you only have $1,000 in the budget for this year, so I think when we work on the next budget, you want to consider, if you're going to get into this tree cutting, put more in the budget.
But there's also, you're considering them dead trees, what trees were gonna be affected by power lines, and that's GMP, right? Correct me if I'm wrong.
These are the other side of the road.
No, but you also wanted to notify GMP and,
I notified GMP, and I haven't heard anything back from them, and the trees that I notified them about are still there.
so John, you're saying we have $1,000 in the fiscal year budget we're in right now?
Right.
And the bid for this tree cutting is $1,300.
I guess, that's it. There's a-
I think that was in your email to us, Bill.
Yeah.
1,300. So is it possible to get it done in this fiscal year, so at least have $1,000 to apply to it, or is that too soon, Kim?
if he can get us the invoice by June 30th, otherwise it's in next year's.
You know, lose it.
Right.
Did he give you a timeframe?
Do you think we could ask him to do it before June 30th, or, and so he can invoice us by that time?
I can ask him.
Well, I guess the question is, do you want to do it?
Why were those trees chosen and are they, as, I don't know the trees.
No, me either.
There's a lot of them that are dead, and a lot of them that are hazards.
These trees, according to Chris Wallace, who talked to me first, and then I talked to Danny, Danny went and looked at it. Danny's on, by the way, and they're shedding limbs, and they are hitting cars as we speak.
That's not good.
That might be a really good reason for it.
Is someone like a motion that we authorize the expenditure here and see if it can be done by the end of this fiscal year?
It has to be done by the end of this year.
It has to be done.
There you go. I'll make that motion.
Okay.
Okay, but I want to be clear. Motion by Suzanne
And seconded by Kathy.
to have the trees removed only if they can be done by June 30th. Is that the motion?
Yes, is that,
Yeah.
yeah, I believe so, that was.
The invoice, to be very specific, the invoice has to be received by the town by June 30th, on June 30th.
And if they can't be cut by then?
So it
I guess we'll have to have another.
It could go into next year. We go into the new budget, we still have the $1,000.
You lose it.
Yeah, I know, you lose it on this, on the old budget.
So it's not used, it doesn't transfer into this year?
No. No, it's,
Goes in a pot and the bottom of the general is not getting used.
yeah,
Are the tree removals not in highway?
It's in highway.
It's in highway, then it stays in highway.
It doesn't stay that way. I don't know.
no, because that's only paving. So-
The highway money stays in highway money. It will carry into the next year.
For that line item. But it can carry the highway as a whole, but not in that one particular line item,
Right. But it stays in highway.
but it stays in highway.
Oh, look, maybe
But
you can do it, I mean, he still has
10 days.
10 days.
10 days.
Surprising.
But if your highway is already gonna run in the negative, then it's kind of pretty much gone. It's only if you've got a surplus in the highway, the surplus will carry it.
No, but if you have dangerous trees, I mean, we need to take care of them, then.
Either way, you should just do it.
Well, why don't we see what he can do, Bill, and then,
But you don't need it again before July. So if this is your motion, you're not going to cut that tree.
not, yes, I guess not in the fiscal year, yes.
Have them give you an invoice that's in June.
Or you can invoice us in June, cut it in July. Why not? That works.
Kim, is that okay or not okay?
It's your choice. I pay whatever you tell me to pay, whatever comes in.
I think it'd be more desirable if you did the work and then invoiced it.
I mean, I don't have a problem
Well,
with
if
that.
you're going to do that, then I would prefer, I don't know if the treasurer would prefer, but I prefer, if the motion was to have the trees removed only if they can be cut by June 30th, 2022, or invoice for cutting before June 30th, 2022.
There's only 1,000 in the budget. He wants 13, wants to pull back to 3.
Well, that's okay, we can go over, I mean,
Oh, we're gonna go with 300 though, instead of 1,300.
Well, that's what the difference is, whether it's this budget or next budget, they need to be removed.
Right.
So you're just gonna have to come back to the board and ask for the next year's budget. If he says I can't do it for 3 weeks, you're not gonna book him because you need to come back for approval again.
But you should, it doesn't really make a difference, you should cut it anyway, try to do it this budget, if you can't do it this budget, do it the next budget.
That's what I'm saying.
That's really, I mean, kind of done and forget about it.
You can just ask them
Yeah,
to do it
it's not-
as
it's not a-
possible.
It's not a big thing, you're a negative anyway, so what's the difference? I mean, you know what I mean, so,
I think we need to move on, we have.
yeah, all right, so, do we have a motion, all in favor?
You don't have a motion, you don't have a second. You have a motion
Yeah.
that could be, only be cut if they can be cut by June 30th. That is your motion.
Retract it.
And there's no second.
I second it.
Kathy seconded.
Kathy
Okay,
said-
and that's the motion, to be cut by June
No,
30th.
let's change it, let's just cut the trees, period.
Yeah, this is getting so confusing, let's cut the
Yeah,
trees.
just make a motion, to cut the
I'm gonna
trees.
go home
Try to
and
do
get my chainsaw and cut them things down.
try to do it, this year.
Okay, let's, I think we've been.
Just cut the
enough
tree
time.
and
Let's
write
go.
the budget, it falls in.
Yeah, that's it,
Yeah.
that's it, so.
Okay, I'll change the motion.
But if you think it is a dangerous situation, I wouldn't make the TJ, the sooner the better. Now that we know about it, it's at our attention, we're responsible.
Problem is, Rich, there's probably 100 other ones
I-
just like that.
I-
Dangerous, so.
Yeah.
Okay, so, then the motion is to have the trees removed by TJ for his estimate of $1,900.
Right.
Okay, and Kathy's second.
Kathy,
No, no one's made that motion.
Suzanne's made the motion, and
Okay.
Kathy is seconded.
No.
And all in favor of this motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. All right, go ahead, Kim, you are on now, Sullivan and Powers.
Engagement letter. Bills, you got that?
Yeah,
That's what down.
What is, I think that's in, no,
because it has to be signed.
okay,
Oh.
if we approve
It has to be signed by,
all of us.
by the select board.
Yeah.
And you'll see this on the last page, page 8, is the signature.
Right.
You need a motion and then,
So,
and all of this was sent to you guys at least 10 days ago.
And there was a slight increase to the estimate this year, which you hadn't increased in the last 3 years.
So the 17,000 is slightly more than we paid last.
Usually it's been just about 15. So, but it's been that for quite some time.
I mean, we have to have the order, if you're gonna change auditors, and try to, it's gonna cost you more money in the long run anyway, so I think we kind of,
Move to approve the engagement letter by Sullivan and Powers for the next audit, next town audit.
do you have a second for that one?
I'll second.
I'm sorry, to improve the engagement letters, and I didn't catch what you said after that.
The engagement letter from Sullivan Powers for the next town audit.
That would be the 22 order, correct? No,
Yes, the
21,
year we're in right now,
21.
21, 22.
Okay, any other discussions on the order? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Now, yeah, each of you, yeah, just take that and pass it on this, sign there. There's only 3 lines to
Yeah, let's see.
go over to the left and sign.
Okay, now, we have the
Well,
expenditure report, we want to do the copy of.
Well, now that you've approved and passed Sullivan Powers audit letter, I talked to Fred today, and actually we're scheduled for July 25th and 26th for his visit, a site visit. So hopefully we're ready to go, we're like right at the beginning on his list. So we should have our audit complete early this year.
Okay.
The expenditure report I had given to you previously, no one came forward with any questions. We are going to just squeak by, I think, by being okay.
Yeah,
Because we have reserves that have not been used yet. We have money in capital budget that's not been used yet, all that's sitting in general fund. And we have ARPA funds that's not been used yet. So all that money is still sitting in our accounts, even though it really is designated for other areas. It's still gonna get us squeaking by before we hear from FEMA.
And by squeaky by, you mean from the cash flow standpoint?
Cash flow should be okay. Yeah.
And the 366,000 that we heard about earlier, that's the 300,000 from FEMA and the 60,000 from the Fed. We're still owed that, and that's part of the reason.
Fed money you have.
The Fed, we got the 60,000
We have.
we've gotten that already.
Yeah, we've gotten the 60,000 already, but
We don't
that's
have
not
the- we don't have the
reflected in the
FEMA money.
budget, in the expenditure report yet.
Right.
Okay,
Um,
but that'll help us from a cash flow perspective, won't it?
mhm. And also, like, when you look at the town government, the only line items that I can see that are way off, if you look under salaries and compensation for, town government, like Michelle's section is over by like $5,000, which has to do with a lot, that's coded under the assistant, but it's actually all the FEMA work she's been doing,
Right.
which has been submitted. So you're gonna see that line item is way off.
But Kim, isn't that more than offset by the additional $14,000 in revenue that was raised by the delinquent tax payment?
No, that's totally
Totally.
different.
Okay.
Then one of the next line item is under Rec and Park. You'll see that that's over, but that's over because of the village park maintenance. So it gets charged there, but actually it's sitting in a reserve. So that's kind of also another wash. Some of the other ones were really piddly. I know Danny's on, but I can just look in the highway, you'll see salaries and compensations. They're a little over, but of course that is because we had the 5.9 COLA increase that we didn't anticipate for part of the year. So that's probably what a lot of that is. Fuel's off by 1,900, that's really good, I think, compared to what the fuel prices are right now. Repairs are up. If you look under his contracted services, you'll see that's way off, but that's due to the retreatment, and of course, retreatment is offset by the reserve that we have. And then also under Irene, it's labeled Irene, but it's not, it's FEMA Town Shares for July 21st rain contracts. Again, you'll see that 328. So all those make him look like he's 510,000 in the negative, he's not. He may be maybe 20,000, if that, so far. I mean, we've only got 2 weeks left.
Okay.
It's a lot better than I thought it would be.
Yes, I agree.
And if you look at it, I mean, if you took the flood out, you'd only be 16% over. So it does skew the result a little bit.
Now, the next, this year is gonna be different because everything, even though we budgeted back in November, our fiscal year starts July 1st, and I think every contract that's come up has been an increase that we didn't budget for in November. So it's gonna be critical in the next fiscal year, because everything's up, right down to the Humane Society. Let's see, the listers are gonna be lodging the grand list. They have finished grievances, and if no one comes forward, we had 3 grievances, and not sure what's gonna happen for BCA, but it looks like next week is the final for hearing anything from the grievances, whether they're gonna go on to the BCA. And June 30th is usually when I get the educational tax rate. So I gotta check the timeline. I believe it falls just perfect for the next select board meeting. What is that, in July?
Yeah.
July 5th.
July
We should
5th.
be able to set our tax rate on July 5th. And then that'll give me the following week to get the tax bills out before July 15th. think that's all I have on my list.
A copier.
Oh, you want me to do the copier? Okay.
May
so-
I, just before you do the copy, I just have a question about the balance sheet. Because last meeting, we talked about the reserve for the cemetery. Remember we talked about there was a reserve fund or a
Oh, the
Yeah.
the trustee of public
And we
funds.
can use some of that money apparently.
I don't see it anywhere, and then I just wondered where it appears on the balance sheet.
It doesn't appear on the balance sheet because it's not part of the general fund. It's an entirely different, and the trustee of public funds hold the funds and are in charge of it. And we're, what do you call it, a trustee of three, which is Gail Ann Fisher, Ron Carey, and myself. And those are held in another account separate from town accounts. There is a cemetery maintenance, and there's also a cemetery lots and sales. There's probably 34,000 in the lots and sales and 16,000 in the maintenance. And by statute, we can use the sales. And what I've talked to the cemetery committee, if they could do a list of what they feel and prioritize what they would like done and come to the trustee, bring it to me, and then I'll call a meeting of the board of trustees, and then we can decide at that point how much and what we want to do.
So that can all be handled locally then.
Okay. Copier?
I gave everybody the copier contract that came to me on Tuesday after the agenda was already made up, and these prices were the increase is good only until June 24th. They had called me last month to tell us that our contract was up. We have a 3-year contract with Canon. And it shows the prices that we currently pay, and I inquired about a color copier because we've actually inquired over the years, but have always been reluctant to do it because it was always so much more. Well, lo and behold, it only comes out to probably $13.42 a month more, which is a total of $161 for the entire year. So I went back and did some research on all the ink usage and what I bought for ink for our small color copiers. And Bill's copier cost us $461 in ink, and the listers cost us $265. So I say do away with little copiers and just go with renting, leasing out the color copier. Guys, that's my recommendation.
It's a no-brainer.
It is.
It really is.
I've talked to Bill, and I've already talked to the listers, you know, yeah, if you have to use a color, that's great, because the charge is a little bit more.
Does that also include the maintenance on the copy?
Yeah, maintenance and toner. But what they do is, it's maintenance, toner, and the use of the copier. But then there's a count on the copier as to how many copies, and it's less than a penny for black and white. And then it's like 5 cents for a color, and then you get charged for that on top.
Okay.
So I'm going to make a motion that we take Clint Ken's recommendation and go with the big color copier.
So moved.
Any more discussion on the copier? If not, all in favor? Say aye. Opposed? Suzanne, you have that, we need to sign that one, so you don't run away before you need to go and forget it.
Is that not,
Oh, did you sign it?
is that what I'm supposed to sign?
Yeah, I didn't see you sign it, I'm sorry. Okay. Who signs this one?
You guys didn't, you didn't authorize.
No, but I mean,
somebody.
who would sign this thing?
You guys have to authorize somebody. You, me, whoever.
Okay, we have the contract here. So we need a motion to accept it and an authorization of who signs it.
Make sure it's the one he sent us, both a black and white and a colored one, make sure it stays at top, which is a BW or it says color.
We'll authorize for the same as public specs.
That's the black and white, so they must have a color.
We don't have a color council.
I think it should say colored like your second line.
Is that the one that's, 105 a month?
You better look at that.
Yes.
Yeah, you gotta look at this one. But anyway, we need a motion. We have a motion, do we need one?
And that's your black and white. Black and white and color, so this is
So
black.
this is the one, okay. So we do have a motion on the floor, I believe.
Yeah.
All right, any other discussion? So if not, all in favor, say aye.
I-
Opposed? Okay, I guess I will sign this thing. And roll it. When does it come?
As soon, I'll get in touch with Chad and find out when it does get here.
We need to date that.
Which? Oh,
So,
okay. It's good, 6/20/22? Okay. Here, give this all to Bill. Okay, the tree warden discussion.
I just think that, if you have to appoint a tree warden. But the tree warden has nothing to do unless you identify trees that are shade trees. So what you might do is find somebody who wants to be tree warden, let them form a committee and see if they can identify shade trees that they want to protect.
Well, we've advertised, what, twice now?
Well, but the law says you have to appoint a tree,
Okay.
even if that tree warden has nothing to do because you don't have shade trees.
But we don't have anybody who wants to be the tree warden.
I haven't been able to find anybody.
No. So it's a problem. Does anybody have any recommendations?
anybody here want to do it? Step up.
We don't have any shade trees, they don't have a park. So the tree warden really doesn't do anything.
Well, just let them be the tree warden.
I guess you could do that, I guess, I don't know, can you do that, Bill?
Say again?
Can the select board be the tree warden?
Yeah. One of you can, well, one of you can.
Or can it be the board entirely? I mean,
But what I would prefer is that you advertise, we have till the 25th, you advertise in the paper, if somebody want to be tree warden.
Didn't we do that?
Because,
yeah, we did that.
We did that once.
We were in the Grafton News, and there was no ticket, and maybe we can try
How
it
did we
again.
describe the job? I'm sorry, I don't remember how we described the job in the Grafton News when we advertised it. When we said we want somebody to be tree warden, what did we say they'd do?
they take care of shade trees.
And that's what we said in the advertisement?
That's just about it. There's nothing else really to say. And we don't have shade trees.
Well,
So-
it's a chicken and egg situation, though, to your point earlier, Bill. If there's a committee and they start to designate shade trees, then the tree warden does have something to do. But until there's a committee and shade trees aren't designated,
But what
the
I
tree
see,
warden doesn't have anything to do. So why don't we advertise that the tree warden would establish a committee and designate shade trees
Thank
or
you.
not
thank you.
for the town?
If somebody wants to be tree warden, and form a committee to identify the trees they want to protect in the town, then that can happen.
I went up and down Main Street after I got that email, and I saw at least 15 trees that homeowners or landowners might want to designate. as
No,
shade trees.
public trees.
They have to, the public trees have to be partially on a public right of way or completely on a public right of way, according to this, right?
They have to be in the public, they have to be in the public property.
Or I think there's also a provision for if there's a, if they are, if they share, if they share. A shade tree means a shade or ornamental tree located in whole or in part within the limits of a public way.
What's
I think
ripping,
that's
the
the
roots or the
right
branches or the leaves or that's all?
I think that's a more desirable job when you describe it to organize a
But
committee.
the one thing that has to be completely clear is that if they have nothing to do with if the highway foreman says that's a dangerous tree, it's gotta come down. They have nothing to do with that.
Right, that's very clear.
Okay. That's, I mean, that's one of
It's
the.
a dangerous
things that-
tree,
But,
that's a different category.
yeah, I think you need to see if somebody wants to form a committee and see if they have any trees they want to protect.
Well,
And then you guys have to then, somebody has to then designate those trees. It may be you, or you may want to go to a town meeting to designate the trees.
why don't we just try again and run an ad in the Grafton News and see if we can't get somebody, and then we can deal with that if we can't find anybody. And, if that's okay with the board, then we'll go forward with that.
Okay.
All right, committee reports, you missed one. What was it? Oh, please. You're not on here, are you?
Yeah, it is.
Number 7.
Oh, did I have it wrong together again?
That's it.
Okay. Patrick, I guess, I
I didn't choose to be on that.
No, this is just for Rich, and John, and I to set a time, Patrick and Dottie, when we can go and do what we promised them that we would do, and that is measure the what is physically there now, and send that to the engineer, my friend, who was gonna look at it and see what we can do.
We're gonna see a video.
So it's just really so that we kept passing up the time to do it. So the three of us need to agree when we're gonna do it.
Okay, so you don't need an authorization for that?
No.
Okay.
We need to come up with a date because this has gone on now for a month.
About a town Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, next week, other than that, and don't wait till September.
How about this week?
I'm there, what is,
So we may, you guys.
no, I'm fine, said that.
I'm ready to go anytime.
Okay. Tomorrow I'd like to break the minutes, so how about we go Wednesday and on the one in the office. Let's go Thursday.
At what time?
Thursday at
That work for the review?
10 o'clock? Does that work for you, Pat? Dottie? Thursday at 10? Okay.
So who does the video and who does the measurements? You guys? We got somebody do that.
We're gonna figure it out.
Bill, you're gonna have to figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
Camera's off my thing.
Okay, Thursday at 10, John? Thursday at 10, Rich, okay?
Sound good?
Okay, committee reports, cemetery. John and I spent a couple of hours visiting the cemeteries with the thought that, now that we have, possibly some money from the trustees of public funds, that we would upgrade some of the cemeteries that needed it. We do not have an estimate. I will pass some pictures around, and you can see, we have numerous stones that have fallen down. We have fences that have fallen down. We have trees that need to be removed, because if they ever to fall, it would destroy multitude of stones. So, what the plan of action is that, we need somebody who can straighten up the stuff and repair the stones. My big suggestion is Mike Blaisdell, because Mike he's a stone nation and does all this kind of, I don't know whether he's interested in doing it or not. But we're gonna talk to Mike and see if he would do, obviously for a fee, but if he could do that, if he has any desire to do that. I'm not sure how Walter, whether he did it himself or they had Hennessy set the stones again, I don't know. And I don't know how they did, because some of the stones were just broken off. Did they epoxy them? I mean, I don't know.
They can clean them. There's a cleaning.
No. Yeah, but I mean, it's not out of the ground. The stone is dead to half. So I think I've seen some where they put epoxy on them or whatever, but we can do some research. And then we have a lot of fence work that has to be done. And so I'll pass these pictures around, and John will work up some kind of a budget to bring to the board, and then we can then go to the That's it.
What about stone,
Huh?
mason or?
Well, the only one I know is Mike Waysville, but there's others, you know, who have the skills, speak up, because we could, you know, ask them and see if they want, it's a time consuming, tedious job. You gotta be very careful, John can explain to you how you.
Well, it was basically be able to get a hold of Charlie Burchett over in Townsend. And he might be able to give us some, names of some people that do this. Yeah.
Well, so Fenton Hennessy too, I would call them too, because they've been really great about helping us out, to see what they suggest too.
A lot of those stones have been down for years
Yeah.
and just laying there. I've never realized that the cemeteries were such sad.
Yeah, they really are in very sad shape, and it's really kind of an embarrassment for people to go off and see, and you'll see the pictures, the fences are broken. And that's the village cemetery, there is the one side there, we have the sheer cliff, the fences are a little broken, and somebody could fall down or whatever, so I mean, I think there's some real issues there, you can see the pictures on the city, so. But John and I will come up with a budget, an estimate, I should say, of what we think it's gonna take to fix it, and maybe we do a little bit each year, or however we do it, but they really need to be addressed, and I mean, they're really in sad shape. And Houghtonville needs, we need to install a fence. I checked with Ken. You know whether, when you ride in on Houghtonville, whether we want to put the fence, well, the grades go right up to that, I mean, the plots. So you need to put a fence there, because otherwise, somebody, cars will be driving on the plot, so it just needs to be there. And some of the fences, they're all falling down as well, so.
It's great that you went out there and did that survey, and unfortunate that it's in, but now we can fix
We can fix
it.
it.
Yeah,
So anyway, so
there
that's.
are a number of stonemasons.
Bill, did you write a letter to the new owners of that cars? So we could set up a date with them to meet with them? Or would you, if you had them?
Contact the Dow.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're still looking for additional land, but, you know, so we'll continue that process.
I'm just wondering, Joe, when you and John are able to get the estimate together, if we could somehow open it up to other stonemasons who might be interested in the work, because there are a number of local stonemasons.
Yeah, we don't know that much about it, so I think we got a new awarding process for us.
Yeah.
I think there's specific, you just don't go dig them up and put them back.
You can't grab a hold of it, or you'll not, just knock it right off its foundation.
Yeah, so it's very delicate work, and I don't know how you repair a stone that was actually broken half. Can you put epoxy and put it back again? I don't know. I'm sure it can be done.
We haven't even seen mine in business.
Really,
First Italian to Springfield, Mass.
they're not in business anymore, right? Huh? Well, Fred and Hennessy, they might have a tool as well, so.
But they would know, yeah.
Do you have an estimate on how many stones in that?
Oh, there's probably about 15 to 20, I would say.
Quite a few.
Yeah. Yeah, in all cemeteries.
Not just surprised they weren't fixed previous, because they've been there for a while.
Yeah, this is not something that happened yesterday. This has been going with them down for a long time, so.
Are they are they old stones
Old.
back in then, so
Also,
there's no family members around?
Yeah, right.
I mean, we could research the names and see if, by chance, there is somebody around, but
I mean, if there's something recent, yes, we could do that. I think that's been done in the past.
It's a village and,
that's
village
middle
town,
town, and the worst.
not both of them. So
Mostly not village, okay.
Yeah.
If you get a name, then you can use the $14,000 funds to fix it.
Oh, okay.
If you don't get a name,
Oh, there are names on the stone, so.
Only if their name is on one of the lists for future.
well, that's what I mean. If they're in the list of the 1,400, you match it, you could use that money for the preservation. Otherwise, that 14,000 is going to sit there forever.
And on another note, I talked to Jason Archibald this week, him and Doug usually put the flags up. And this year, they did state that the flags were really used. So it'll be an expense next year to purchase all new flags. So that might go into the pot also. And we need new holders.
Yeah, I will, John or I or somebody we'll go down and see if we can get the names of these stones.
Right, yeah.
That's good.
This isn't anything on it, but just if anybody knows, we can't find the flags, so we don't know where the flags are that were on all the light poles at one time, and they're gone.
I was supposed to call Stan. I haven't called Stan because he was gonna go through the shed where Walter kept everything to see if
They did, and they destroyed all the flags, they were no good.
they were no good.
You know, they took them
Okay,
up,
so those
they
are-
probably disposed of them.
Okay, so all the flags that were on the light posts are gone?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, John.
Doesn't the Legion do anything with the, flag, the stands that the flags go in? The Legion?
They don't. We usually purchase them.
Okay,
They're
do
expensive.
you have anything else on the page, John?
No, veterans,
Anything on highway committee?
why don't you submit to the GIA?
There's nothing on the Parks Committee that I know, unless you know something, Steve.
No, the only thing we're waiting on, which was good news from Mike, is that probably next
Right.
week you're gonna get to the parking area.
The Personnel Committee, obviously.
How much can I say here?
Well, you can say what happened.
Oh,
2 minutes.
yeah, well, the highway foreman did request a meeting with, personnel committee, and we met with him last Thursday. And, he did hand in his resignation. And I did call you, Joe,
Yeah.
about what transpired and, what to do with this meeting tonight. He does have some particulars in his resignation, that we need to discuss.
Yes.
Could you read his resignation?
Dear Select Board, please accept this letter as notice of my resignation from my position as foreman of the Highway Department of Grafton. My last day of the employment will be July 8th, 2022. It has been a pleasure working for the town for the past 18 years. I have a lot of good memories of getting to know and working with the community and the board members. I hope that I can help Grafton in the future with work as Taylor Excavating, and would like to be able to help the highway department as a fill-in driver, snow plowing. I also would be willing to help out with any mechanical work that needs to be done as needed. I realize that FEMA hasn't been finished yet. I'm willing to help you get through and answer questions that may come about. I'm just a phone call away. I also am willing to help whoever you hire to fill the position to make it a smoother transition for them. Sincerely, Danny Taylor. And Danny, we probably met for an hour and a half, and he explained some of the reasons why he sent in his resignation.
Anything else?
We're gonna do a quarterly, and then the second quarter's coming up to reviews, and that would just be with Bill. And I thought as a personnel committee, it'd be very nice to meet separately with Mike and with Dave before any hires made.
Absolutely.
Is that okay, Mike?
And Mr. Chair, I think that after we do the due diligence we need to reserve time in the next meeting to just say a formal thank you to Danny.
Not a problem. Anything else on the building committee, other than the heat pumps not being installed yet? Whatever. Bill, do you hear anything? No.
On the building committee,
Yeah, I can add something.
you can talk
Yeah.
about the,
Danny and Ross, Russell Rucker, and myself met with, Greg from GMP last Thursday, or Wednesday, last week. went over how they're gonna, possibly do the work, doing a trench and having an electrician here to put in the, gosh, is it the 200?
The meter?
200, yeah, yeah, 200 amp system. The concern came up as to doing the ditching, what is underneath. And it's gonna be a lot of hand digging, because they have to thread the wires through. And they're gonna try very hard not to shut the power on. But I may have to. The date, did have a date, has to correspond with the inn. So there's no weddings going on. I think they were shooting for, maybe I didn't write it down in my notes. Danny, do you remember the date?
I have the date.
You have the date. And to be frank, Russell was concerned about doing the digging. He's kind of uneasy about what he might hit or what's underneath. I know Danny did reassure him that it should be fun, but he was concerned about doing it.
I haven't called into Russ to talk to him. Kim had also talked to Ray Egan. I have also talked to another person from the town who might do the trenching. I mean, I have to talk to them, see if they will. Ray Egan said that the person they use, there are two people at M&M that do all the
Yeah, I
work.
mentioned that.
It's very tedious work. Even though you have an excavator there, you might do a lot of it by hand. So it isn't something that you just have 20 feet to dig and you just use an excavator and you've done in 15 minutes. So
Right.
I'm going to try to talk to see if any local people are interested in it. And then if not, I'll talk to see if M&M, if I can make some arrangement thing.
Yeah, and I think Russell was also going to talk to Ivor Stevens, who did some work in that area with the, some plumbing, and I think it was
Ivor did the
septic.
the electrical as well as the water that came into the thing from the generator. And he was going to look for some pictures. This was months ago when we talked about it. And I haven't heard back from him on the pictures, but Amber might have something on that. If they have any pictures of that, that would be helpful because it'd give us an location.
And the date is Monday, August 22nd, because nothing's going on that week or that weekend or the following week. So that would give you time to set up who's going to do the digging, get the other equipment you need from an electrician. So that's where we're at,
What was that date?
August 22nd.
Did you get straightened out as to who was gonna furnish the conduit?
That's the electrician.
He's gonna do it.
That's what Greg said from GMP. Electrician has that
Well,
responsibility.
we think that he wasn't going to do that. I will find out and someone will have the conduit there. If town could, I would prefer that the town bought it and not pay somebody 5, 10, 15% to go buy it. So I would rather we figure out, somebody tell us how much and the town buy it directly and not pay the contractor a fee to go buy it. That's what I prefer. It's just conduit's conduit. As long as the right conduit's the right conduit, that's all. And it's expensive.
And I think,
Very expensive, believe me.
yeah, and Greg said something he was gonna send you too. Specs, some of the specs.
Okay, I was catching up with everything today. I haven't talked to Greg. I have a message into Russ record to see if he would, what he wants to do, because we talked to him first. It's a little bit more complicated than everybody thought. It was way more complicated than What you guys went through the other day, that's not what was represented to me. Like,
The first time when we met, it wasn't.
we were told, I was told
And this is.
that
a
it's just,
42
all I just need to do is show what's gonna do and figure out when we're gonna do it. None of this other stuff came up. That's why I didn't have any problem with you guys meeting with me gone, but
But it's a 42-inch ditch deep. And he does not feel where that stake is a straight line in. There's no way to put that panel. We want to put the panel somewhere over here. Outside.
say it again.
The panel where you put, there's a stake out here.
Yeah,
And it was thought that it was going to be a straight line to the building. But it's not going to work that way. They want to go diagonal. Talk to Greg about it and talk to Russell about it. Because of where the windows are situated downstairs, where that panel will go.
okay. But we have electricity going through the wall right now. Why don't we go through the wall in the same dang place down in the basement, the exact same spot? Said, right? Well, that ditch is here, and this ditch will be a little bit further back. Why not go through the same wall? We have a panel sitting in there right now. From
Well,
the,
if the
from the
electrician
gym.
is in there, he could have probably straightened that out.
Yeah. Right, and he
But
wasn't.
I know.
He wasn't there.
But once you get the power in the building, you can put the panel anywhere.
That's our thought, and that panel out there is for the streetlights. The panel that's at the front of the wall, that's for the streetlights. We don't want to screw with that. So anyway, I know that that's all the stuff that needs to be taught.
Well, I don't think we can resolve the thing. I think
I'm just
committee-
reporting to you what we discussed and the concerns that came up. There's a lot of concerns that came up.
Well, I think I would get the electrician involved so that you can, you know, I think you need, there's some homework has to be done.
Okay.
The heat pump, no work yet, Bill?
No, we're on the next one. This one actually, for the amount of people we have here, is fine for us.
Okay.
For now.
There's nothing on the wastewater, I haven't seen them around, they haven't contacted yet, so I'm assuming they're doing what they're doing, so it stands there. Other business? Public comment? Okay, now we need the next regular meeting will be on Tuesday, July 5th, not on Monday, because it's a holiday, at 6 PM here. We need a motion to go into executive session.
So do
And I would recommend that we invite Kim in to answer any questions. That would be my recommendation. It's up to the board, but that would be my recommendation.
I think that's a good idea.
So if we need that motion, please, someone,
313A1, please.
well, whatever it is.
Well, I wanted to be 313A1.
Yeah, right, that's fine.
Okay. And who made the motion, John?
Yeah, and
Okay.
you second it?
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Right.
Opposed? Okay. All right. Thank you for coming, everybody.